My uncle betrayed me by forging documents to steal our family's estate. Hurt and determined, I fought back with evidence and strategy, exposing his lies and reclaiming what's ours, turning pain into strength. My name is Mila, and I'm 28 years old. I never imagined I'd be the one trying to hold my family together through a storm like this, but life has a way of throwing curveballs. It all started when my uncle Elijah decided to rip apart everything we'd built by forging documents to claim family assets that weren't his. What should have been a straightforward inheritance turned into a nightmare, and I'm still figuring out how to pick up the pieces. Let me tell you about the people caught up in this mess. Uncle Elijah, my dad's younger brother, is in his late 50s. He's got a slick charm that can fool you if you don't know him well, but underneath, he's selfish and bitter, always has been. My dad is the opposite, quiet, steady, and hardworking, though his health's been shaky lately with heart trouble. My mom's the glue, always worrying and trying to keep everyone happy, even when it's impossible. My brother Mateo, 32, is a fireball, protective to a fault and quick to lose his temper. Then there's my cousin Gianna, Elijah's daughter. She's 25, sharp as a tack, but stuck between loyalty to her dad and knowing he's wrong. We've also got Henry, Elijah's sketchy lawyer friend in his 40s, who'd sell his soul for a paycheck. And finally, there's Violet, my best friend since high school. She's 29, calm and practical, and has been my rock through all this. The main trouble kicked off 6 months ago. My grandfather passed away 3 years back, leaving behind a decent estate, a house in the countryside, some farmland, and a small hardware store Dad had been running forever. The will was simple. Dad got the house and land, Elijah got cash and a smaller rental property. It wasn't a gold mine, but it was fair. Dad poured his life into that store, fixing it up from nothing, while Elijah drifted in and out, only showing up when he needed a loan or a favor. We thought it was settled. Then Elijah showed up one rainy afternoon at our house, grinning like he'd won the lottery. He slapped a stack of papers on the kitchen table and said, "Turns out Dad changed his mind. This is all mine now. The house, the land, half the store." I remember the way Dad's face went pale, his hands shaking as he read the so-called updated will. Mom started crying, begging Elijah to explain. Mateo lunged at him. I had to grab his arm to stop him from swinging. Me? I just stood there, stunned, watching my uncle smirk like he'd finally gotten one over on us. The papers looked real, stamped and signed, but something felt off. Grandpa could barely speak in his last months, let alone rewrite a will. That was the moment I realized Elijah wasn't just greedy, he was ruthless, and I couldn't let him win. But it wasn't just his stunt that turned everything upside down. Other problems started creeping in, making it harder to fight back. For one, Mateo and Mom couldn't agree on what to do. Mateo wanted to sue Elijah immediately, shouting, "We can't let him walk all over us." Mom, though, was horrified at the idea. A lawsuit? In this family? "What will the neighbors say?" she'd whisper, wringing her hands. I understood her. She'd spent years building our reputation in this small town, but I also knew Mateo had a point. Sitting still wasn't an option. Those arguments dragged on for weeks, splitting us when we needed to be united. Then there was Dad's health. His heart condition had been manageable, but the stress from Elijah's betrayal sent him downhill fast. I'd find him sitting in his old armchair by the window, staring at the fields he'd worked so hard for, his breathing shallow. One night, he grabbed my hand and said, "Mila, I can't lose this. Not after everything." It broke me. I was already juggling my job at the local library, helping Mom with Dad's meds and appointments, and now this. I barely slept, my mind racing with what-ifs. Another mess came from an unexpected place, my old high school friend, Theodore. He's 30 now, a mechanic who's always been a bit of a gossip. He'd heard about Elijah's move, small towns talk, and decided to help by confronting Elijah himself. Problem is, Theodore's got a big mouth and no filter. He stormed into Elijah's auto shop one day, yelling about how he was a disgrace to the family. Elijah laughed it off, but later he called me, furious. "Keep your friends out of my business, Mila, or this gets uglier." Now I had to deal with Theodore's meddling on top of everything else, and it left me wondering who I could even trust. Gianna added her own layer of trouble. She's my cousin, but she's also Elijah's daughter, and that put her in a tough spot. One evening, she showed up at my apartment, her eyes puffy from crying. "I know Dad's wrong, Mila," she said, twisting a tissue in her hands. "But he's all I've got left since Mom died." I hugged her, told her I got it, but inside I was torn. She knew things, where Elijah got those papers, who helped him, but she wouldn't say more. I needed her help, but pushing her felt like betraying her too. So there I was, drowning in problems. Elijah's forged will, a family divided, Dad's fading health, Theodore stirring the pot, and Gianna's silence. The house itself felt heavy with it all. Its creaky wooden floors and faded yellow walls seemed to groan under the tension. I'd sit at the kitchen table late at night, the same table where we'd had so many loud, happy dinners growing up, and feel this ache I couldn't shake. I missed those days when Elijah was just the goofy uncle who'd sneak me extra dessert, not the man trying to steal my family's legacy. I thought back to when Grandpa was alive. He was strict but fair, always telling us stories about how he'd bought that land with nothing but grit and a handshake. Elijah used to idolize him, or so I thought. Once, when I was 12, I overheard them arguing in the barn. "You've got to earn it, Elijah," Grandpa had said, his voice sharp. "I won't hand you what your brothers worked for." Elijah stormed off, and I didn't think much of it then. Now, it hit me. That resentment had been simmering for decades, waiting to boil over. I couldn't let it destroy us. Elijah was betting on us being too emotional or too broke to fight. But I had something he didn't, a stubborn streak and a clear head. I decided to outsmart him. First, I dug into Henry, the lawyer. I'd met him once at a family barbecue. Greasy hair, loud laugh. The kind of guy who'd overpromise and underdeliver. I spent hours online, combing through public records and old ex-posts. I found a complaint from someone claiming Henry had faked a lease for them years ago. It wasn't hard evidence, but it gave me a hunch he'd done this before. I saved everything, building my case piece by piece. Next, I leaned on Violet. She's got a knack for staying calm when I'm a mess. We sat on her porch one chilly evening, the air smelling of damp leaves, and I spilled it all. "I don't know if I can do this," I admitted, my voice cracking. She handed me a mug of tea and said, "You're not alone, Mila. Let's think it through." She suggested getting Grandpa's original will verified, something official to counter Elijah's papers. It was a solid idea, and it gave me hope. I also went back to Gianna. I invited her over, made her favorite spaghetti, and kept it light at first. Then I slid Grandpa's old letter across the table, a note he'd written Dad about the estate, dated and signed. "This is what he wanted," I said softly. "You know those papers aren't real." She stared at it, tears welling up. "Dad got them from Henry," she finally mumbled. I heard them laughing about it. My heart raced. That was the break I needed. Theodore, bless him, kept causing trouble. He'd started telling people at the diner that Elijah was a crook, which got back to Elijah fast. One afternoon, Elijah showed up at my door, red-faced. "Call off your dog, Mila, or I'll make you regret it." I stood my ground, saying, "Fix this yourself, or I will." He left, but it rattled me. I had to tell Theodore to back off, which sparked a fight. He thought I was giving up. "I'm not," I snapped. "I just need space to do this right." He stormed off, and I felt another piece of my support slip away. Then came a real scare. Dad had a bad night. Chest pains, shortness of breath. We rushed him to the hospital, and for hours, I sat in that sterile waiting room, the beeping machines and antiseptic smell drilling into me. Mom clung to my arm, whispering, "He can't take much more of this." He pulled through, but the doctor warned us, no more stress. It lit a fire under me. I had to end this, for Dad's sake. I found more in Grandpa's attic, boxes of old letters and receipts, dusty and yellowed. One was a note from Grandpa to his lawyer, outlining the estate split, matching the original will perfectly. I took it to Violet's bank friend, who got it analyzed. The handwriting checked out. Elijah's new papers didn't. I had proof now. With Gianna's tip, I called Henry, posing as a client. "I need something that looks real," I said, keeping my voice steady. He bragged about his skills, and I recorded every word. It wasn't legal proof, but it'd scare him. I was ready. I faced Elijah at his house, Mateo by my side. The place smelled of oil and cigarette smoke, a far cry from our cozy home. He smirked until I laid out the letter, the recording, Gianna's story. "Drop it," I said, "or we go to court. You'll lose everything." His face fell. Gianna stood in the doorway, silent, and I saw the fight drain out of him. He swore at us, but agreed to back off. We kept the estate. Dad's getting stronger, Mom's smiling again, and Mateo's proud. Theodore apologized, and we're good now. Gianna's still distant, torn over Elijah, but she thanked me quietly one day. It's not perfect, Elijah's a ghost to us now, but I'm grateful. I'm tougher than I was, and we're safe. So what do you think? Should I reach out to Elijah and Gianna, or let them come to me? Did I handle this the best way? I'd love your take. What would you do next?
Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the story. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss our daily updates.